plain view. And this is a propane attachment on the side. It is a wood burning stove, but it has a propane attachment, and I do my cooking on it. I'm working on a beautiful sweater. I'm working on it for a year now, but I am missing 1 ball's worth of yarn. This is the one that I really wanted to use because it's super soft, but I had spun it as an art yarn, and you can tell that because, let's see if I can find a bulky bit. It has some bits that are super bulky and some bits that are kind of thin, and so it's meant to be puffy and irregular for like a hat. It's not meant for a sweater that needs to be shaped and needs to be exact. Even though I would love to be able to use this, I can't. This is the yarn that I spun last year before we left on our trip for the sweater itself, and I had 2 skeins that didn't get dyed because I thought that I had enough, and I didn't miscalculate. I just changed the sweater a little bit. So I was short 1 ball. And so this is a dye that I already have that I'm praying is close enough. This is the sweater. It's dyed. I dyed it to make it look like denim. So that's what it looks like. And I'm a little concerned that this dye is going to be a little too bright. That it's called periwinkle, and it looks, to my naked eye, it looks like it's going to be the exact color. But Jacquard has a tendency to be very poke your eye out bright. So whenever you're dyeing wool, you need to be careful about temperature changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up my dye pot that is used for nothing except dyeing, and I'm going to have it heat up to a hot temperature. And I'm also going to put my tea kettle on and raise it to the same temperature. And then what I do is I put the yarn in a bowl with that hot water in it, and then I let it soak all that water up out of there, and I let it sit for half a second while I add the dye to the big pot. I add the dye to the big pot, and then I add some vinegar. And depending on what I want to have happen with this yarn, that's how I kind of change how I add the dye and how I add the vinegar. Okay, so we're gonna look at this yarn that I dyed yesterday. The gay wool dyes that was the original color for that sweater is called silver birch. That is a very, very pretty, I've made 2 sweaters out of it now. It's very subtle, very gray blue, and this is definitely periwinkle. I'll see if I can bring it in so you can see it really close. That is definitely a bright lavender blue. Now, there's a difference between the 2 that you'll see in here. Let's see if I can pull the other one up. This one is mohair. See, there's a huge difference. This one picked up more of the gray tone, and the reason for that is because it started out gray. Okay, so I poured it out of this into here to drain, and then I took this and put it in here. Poured a gallon of water over it, let it sit, and then drained it again. So total, it took 3 gallons of water to dye this and to have it rinsed. All finished. So not a big deal. I let it drain into the bottom of the outdoor shower, and now it is ready to go ahead and hang. So these are bed knobs, and the little safety pins that you put on like trailers. I'm not sure what these are called, but that's how they work. And it's just a lightweight. The thing I like about these though is they snap on so quick. I like this one better. I do like subtle colors, not necessarily really bright colors. See this little S hook with clips on it? Okay, So you've seen two ways to do that now. You can put it on a clothesline, you can put it on a hook. I've done it above my wood burning stove before, that works as well. But I prefer to get all the, I prefer to get all the drippage off before I dry it further in the house. So if you're looking for some kind of woolen Christmas present this year, I do have some of these back up on my Etsy site. And I will warn you, it takes me about a month to make each one, especially if I hand dye them. I have about 40 hours into one of the double hats. I have about 20 hours, probably about 20 hours for a single hat. It takes me a little time to seam them together and to make them two hats into one. But the hat that I use in our really cold weather is my double hat, but for light fall weather or a normal winter area, the single hat is adequate. Again, I hand dye, hand spin, and then hand knit the hats. Unless it turns out that I don't like the dye that I am using right now, which I really don't. The other dye that I like is much more expensive though. It's about 4 times as expensive, and so I might end up not dyeing it myself and instead purchasing the dyed wool and then just carding it myself so that it's the blend that I want. So if you go on my Etsy store, you'll see them there. They are not inexpensive. They are a hat that took me 20 or 40 hours to make. And so I do have a lot of time into them, but if you'd like to support our channel and also give a really neat Christmas present to somebody, it is, you know, it's something that if you'd be interested, it's there on my Etsy store, and make sure to go check it out, and we'll talk to you later.
Doing this on Mom's hopper. Well, she's on our pollywog.
Okay, let it go in a little bit faster. Is it stuck?
Actually, it's